Welcome to our Make a Recap video with Premiere Pro workshop. My name is Michaela. If we haven't met before, I'm the Digital Lounge coordinator. So I work here at the Digital Lounge at our help desk and manage our team of student workers and teach workshops, do administrative work, and also just help with various Adobe problems, WordPress problems. Our help desk is the place to go for those sorts of things. A little bit about me. I am full-time staff, but I did go to USC for my undergrad. I was in the School of Cinematic Arts as a film and TV production major. So, a lot of my workshops tend to be geared towards video and audio editing because that's where most of my experience is. Um, I graduated in 2023, worked somewhere else for a bit, and then came back here to work at Annenberg. At the Digital Lounge. So you'll see me if you're ever in the lounge, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, I'm here. I've taught a couple other video editing and audio editing workshops here so far, and will continue to do so over the next few semesters. So I hope you come back and see some of the other stuff that we have going on. But today we are focusing on making a recap video. Specifically, it's those videos that you see on TikTok or Instagram Reels where someone takes an audio and edits together a fun, like 30-second or less montage of their vacation or their year in review. Um, those kind of videos that maybe might look a little difficult to edit or a little complicated. We're going to get into an example of how to make a video like that. Um, Often with those videos, you'll see that a lot of people make them on CapCut and you can just click and there's a CapCut template. You can input your footage and you're done, which is great. But because I have a film and video editing background, I tend to like to do things from scratch. I like to modify where I want and sometimes just make my own template that's different from what everyone else is doing. So we're going to show you an example of one trend that I saw going around recently for making travel recap videos. I'm going to show you how to recreate that in Premiere, tailor it to what fits for you and your footage. And then the principles that I teach you in this workshop, you can use to then create whatever sort of video that you want, whether it's something like this or using whatever audio, whatever footage, whatever kind of editing you want. This is going to kind of set you up to make your own really cool videos. So I'm going to show you the video that I made that I'm going to replicate in this workshop today and show you some key concepts and tips and tricks to make yours as well. All right, so this is the video that I made, and I'm going to show you how I did it.
Un aplauso para mami y papi, porque en verdad rompieron.
Okay. So I put all of my footage in a folder here. So whenever you create your Premiere Pro project, you can go ahead and select everything that you want to import. Mm. And it's going to create your timeline. It always imports all the video into the sequence. I don't like that. I like to start with a blank sequence. So we're gonna go ahead and get rid of all that, except for the reference audio. Okay, so now we have all of our footage in, we have our reference audio in. When I'm making a sort of video like this, the first thing I like to do is go through the audio and figure out how I want everything to be timed. So I'll use what are called markers in order to mark the beats, mark the points where I know videos want to start and stop, so that I have a guideline for by the time I'm actually bringing in the footage, it's actually going to be way easier because I've created these markers for myself that are sort of like the guidelines for where everything's supposed to go. So let's just listen through the audio once, and I'm going to kind of tell you what I'm thinking about, like where I would want everything to go. Obviously, you just saw what I made, so you kind of have a sense, but my brain works very musically and rhythmically, so I tend to like to edit on cuts, I like to do cuts on beats. You can do differently. Everyone has their own style. That's just what I like to do personally. So I'm going to show you how I go about doing that. And if at any point anyone has any questions, please feel free to stop me um, and let me know. Okay.
Un aplauso para mami y papi, porque en verdad rompieron.
Okay, so for that first part, at the beginning here, there's a lot of really quick beats. I want to have a series of really quick videos happening on each beat. So I'm just gonna stop talking, do that. It might take me a second, but I just want to show you how I would do that. Another way that makes things easier whenever you're doing this is extending the waveform of your audio. You can kind of rework your workspace however you want to. This helps me because you can kind of see in the waveforms here when beats are happening. It's a little muddy at the beginning here, but here you can see when the beats happen. So I'm gonna go through here. If you use M, that's what creates a marker. So if I press M, it's gonna give you this thing. You can title the markers if you want. I never really do that. I just let it go. Okay, so if you haven't selected on the clip, it's gonna add a marker to the clip itself. I don't really want to do that. I just want to add markers in the timeline itself. So make sure you're not selected in the clip if you don't want to add the marker on the clip. And it's just gonna add it right there. Okay, so it's gonna be a little hard for me to hear on this. So let's just, if you're following along, and you want to go ahead and add some markers for this first section of the audio, I'm gonna stop sharing my audio, do it so I can hear it, and then come back and show you where I've placed everything. But if you wanna go ahead and try to do that yourself too, we're gonna take the next like 2-3 minutes to do. So I added some markers for the next section as well. It's a little harder. Editing is best with headphones so that you can get really granular. You can like line it up exactly how you want it to the beat. But for our sake, you can use, like I said, the waveforms to get a sense of when each beat happens. And so I set these markers as a general guideline. Once we get in our footage, we might decide that we want to adjust it a little bit because at the end of the day, something might make sense to you logically, the way the waveforms are, the way the beats happen, but at the end of the day, sometimes something visually just doesn't make sense and doesn't look good. So you can set these guidelines, you can do all that preparation that you want, but at the end of the day, it's going to come down to you trusting your vision and your eyes and ears together to tell you what adjustments you need to make. But just going off of this, I'm going to go ahead and put some footage in here. So with my videos, what I did is because whenever you say you took a bunch of videos on your phone, you want to airdrop them to your laptop or upload them to your laptop, however way you're going to do it. They're going to be named crazy things, like with a ton of numbers and stuff, and that's fine. But I prefer to rename everything to sort of help me with my organizational process. And since this was a trip where I went to a bunch of different places, I decided to name them accordingly. So if I do it alphabetically, you'll see like different locations. I will say just like the location name and then like one for the first video, two, etc., just so I get a sense of how many videos I have for each location. Um, and it just makes me feel a little more organized with everything. Um, so a little bit later into the video, if you remember from the reference video I showed you, there's a portion where there's going to be text over the video. In my brain, when I'm planning out where I want to put everything in this video, I'm thinking about a couple of things. One, there are sections where the clips are going to be a lot shorter. Specifically at the beginning here, there's just going to be a lot in succession. The clips I want to choose for that are going to be clips that not a ton is happening in, or there's action with like punctuated movements. I want to save anything where there's a bit of action to the video, a lot going on. I want to save those for parts where I can let the video breathe and have like bigger moments. And then also for the section where there's text over the videos, I know that I want to use a light colored text on top of the video. So I want to try to save my nighttime videos for that specifically because I know that light text is going to look better over darker colors. So those are just kind of some things that I'm thinking about in my head when I'm planning out this video. Sometimes I start all over the place. Like I might start with the text first and getting that all set up. I might start with what video do I want? I know I want to have a long video here. What video do I want to have here? Sometimes my brain can be all over the place when I'm thinking about the order in which I want to approach the edit, but for the sake of this workshop, we're just going to go in order so I can show you each part of the video. So the beginning here, like I said, these are going to be short clips, short snippets. I'm thinking maybe I want to use some just general exterior shots of the nature where I've been on vacation. Like I said, if there's anything where there's some punctuated movements that might kind of propel the edit forward, make things feel like they have a bit of a flow, I would want to use that here. So I'm just going to go through and I'm going to look at what I have over here. There's different ways you can view the footage. I like to have it in this view. You just press this button down here to get it to be like that. Just so it gives me like a preview image for what the video is. So I'm going to go through and I'm actually going to create some bins in here depending on where I think I want all the footage to go. You don't have to do this. This is just something that I do for my own organization, especially if I'm dealing with a lot of videos. So I'm going to create one for beginning. This is for the beginning of the video. And then I'm going to create one for, I guess we'll call it under text because there's going to be text over top of it, however you want to call it. And going through, I see this is a darker, has a lot of darker colors. The text is probably going to show up a lot better on top of this image. So because the format of my video is I want to show when the text comes on, it says welcome to the place. When I found this trend on TikTok, people were just doing one place. So that's totally fine. But I thought since I have multiple locations of my trip, I'm going to introduce each location. So I'm going to try to choose like around one video per location to use for that text thing. And then that'll help me narrow down what I can use in other parts of the video. So I know I want to use this for Amsterdam. And however you want to organize is fine. This is just something that I do for myself. So for the next couple minutes, if you are working with footage, if you are following along and you want to organize it into some bins, however you feel makes the most sense to you, if you want to kind of decide where you want to put everything, we're just going to take the next couple minutes to do that, and then we'll come back and start putting the footage into the beginning of the video. Yeah.
Do this, do you ever like, you know how you have like live photos? Do you ever like make it into a video?
Yes. Yeah. And I was actually looking for live photos I could use, but I realized I didn't do that on this trip. So I didn't have them to use. But yeah, especially with videos like this where your clips are going to be really short, live photos are a great source of videos you can use because live photos are only like 3 seconds, I think. So 100%, like if you have live photos, they're a great thing to use in these types of videos.
Okay.
I just didn't have any. I was bummed. So this was like almost 3 years ago at this point, and I was hoping I did because I wanted to include some like me like posing for photos, you know. Yeah, those are definitely great to
Do
use.
you make it into a video through like your photo library? On your
Yeah, in your photo library you can like there's like where it says like live photo, there's like a drop down arrow, and I think you can change
Oh, like make into
what it is. Like you can like turn it into a video there. Yeah. Yeah, just in general, when you're traveling, live photos are great for that because then you have that option. So I have mine sorted now. I decided to do beginning of the video, the undertext portion where everything gets a little chaotic, and then the end. So broke it up sort of into the 3 sections there. I have the advantage of I already edited this video, so I kind of knew where I wanted everything to go. In reality, this might take you longer. This might be something that changes, probably will change. You might think something looks good in one place. You might think it looks good in a certain order, and then you realize you need to switch it up. That is all good. I just like to organize it into bins so that I'm not just looking at 30 plus videos and like unsure what to do with them. So, now that we have our markers here, and like I said, we may have to adjust a little bit because I was doing it largely by eye. We're gonna go ahead and go into the bin where we put that footage that we want to use in, and I'm just gonna start playing around with it. So obviously you want to start your video on something interesting, something dynamic. Obviously in today's day and age, in the social media age, you need to grab people's attentions immediately. And so whenever I was making my video initially, I thought that this was a fun video to start with. This is from a bar in London called The Alchemist, which really cool if you ever have the chance to go. They make like all these crazy drinks with dry ice, and they do like tricks with their drinks. But I had this video of the bartender shaking 2 shakers. Thought it was a fun video, lots of movement, good for a quick cut. So I decided I wanted to use this for my first little clip. Now, because we're wanting such quick segments of each of these videos, you don't just want to drag the whole video down here, because if you do, it's just gonna be annoying. You want to try to bring in the smallest clips as possible, so there's less editing you have to do once you bring it in to the timeline. One thing we are gonna do, because For this, personally, I don't want to use any audio from the videos themselves. All I want to do is use the music. So in order to not drag in the audio as well, you're going to go ahead and uncheck this A1 here, and that should allow you to just bring in the video and no audio. And then before we bring in our video, I'm going to choose a point that I want to use, and I'm going to use in and out markers to just select the portion of the clip that I want to bring in. So I'm looking through, it looks like this video is pretty much the same thing all the way through, but I'm going to just go right here. I'm going to click I for in, and then O for out. And I already know that even though that's a quick clip, it is going to be a little too long, but that's okay. I'm going to bring it in, and I'm going to cut it to this marker here. So it's just a little quick clip of him shaking the shakers. So next, I'm going to go and I'm going to choose something else. Since I have a variety of different types of clips in here, something that I'm thinking about is creating that variety in the edit as well. So some of these are just landscapes, they're just scenes in different cities throughout Europe. This was me trying to like set up a little video to take photos of myself. There's other ones that have people in it. This one is from a cabaret in Paris. This one is me sliding down a mountain in Switzerland. This is me jumping off of a cliff in Greece. So I want to try to switch it up. I want to go from seeing a human subject to more of a landscape and back and forth, so that you're not just doing like all your landscapes and then all your videos that have a subject in it. So try to create some variety. Also try to create some variety with color as well. Like for example, this clip and this clip. Oh, that's just, I didn't mean to bring that in there. That's the video. This clip and this clip kind of have similar colors. They've got neons and oranges and reds. So I kind of want to break that up. Maybe I'll put this one in the middle instead. So, especially because they're quick things, you want each one to kind of stand out and have its moment, even if it's just for a few frames. So next, I'm going to use this one. This is just a landscape of beautiful place in Italy. So I see that I don't have much movement in here, so I can just select whatever little bit I want of it. Bring it in, and I'll drag it up to the marker here. So now let's just go ahead, if you're working along with some footage, go through and just with the markers you've created, with the footage that you have, just put different clips in. And don't worry if you don't have as many videos as I have. In other versions of this trend that I've seen on TikTok, people are reusing their videos. So like the clips that they show in this first section, they then repeat for the second section. So really you need like 10 to 15 videos minimum in order to do this type of edit. But yeah, so if you're following along, just take the next couple minutes. If you're not editing yourself and you just want to watch, you can see what I'm doing up here. I'm going to start adding in my videos as well. Another thing you can also do, say, for example, I'm taking this video of me cliff jumping. It's filmed from pretty far away. Typically, when you're video editing, you don't want to be zooming in too far onto things because it's going to distort the quality. But for things that are shot on a phone, you can kind of get away with zooming in where you want. So say I want to use this clip. I want to use the moment where I jump in and I pencil dive so it looks kind of silly the way that I jump in, so I just want to get the tail end of it whenever I hit the water. I'll bring that in. And then in order to get a clearer picture of what's going on, you want to make sure the clip is selected, and you can go to effect controls. And you can increase the scale and change the position so that you get a better closer up image. I don't want to go too close because I look ridiculous doing that, but it's fine. So if you have footage that you want to zoom in, that's how you would go ahead and do it in effect controls.
Excuse me. Do you know about how long each clip is supposed to be? I was still selecting. my stuff when you went.
For like where I put the markers?
Yeah.
Roughly it's a little different for each one, and it might be kind of off, but I would say it's around 5 frames each. So that's like if you're looking at the numbers in here, this number would be a 5.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
If that makes sense. Yeah. Because there's generally 24 frames in a second.
Gotcha. Thank you. Keep my clips from putting their own audio.
So you want to make sure that this A1 on the timeline is unselected. It might be like blue. You want to make sure it's like unselected, not blue. And it won't bring in any audio if you do that.
On just the
Yeah, it's like
so small.
oh, so this one can be selected. This one is the one you want to have unselected.
Okay.
So if you do that and then say whatever it is that you're trying to bring in, it won't bring in the audio.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then why are you able to see individual like wavelengths? Why is it so big on your screen?
So the way you would want to make that bigger is just by doing this.
Oh, awesome.
So you can change the size of any of your tracks.
Wait, how do you do the audio thing? Where you
The audio thing. So here on the side, I'm gonna make this smaller so you can see. What yours should look like is that all 4 of these are like blue colored in. You want to make sure this bottom left A1 is unselected.
Okay, not the inside one.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. And then that way, any
So-
audio, any clip you bring in, it won't include audio.
It'll know. Every time I've been editing, I've like went in and individually deleted, like
Yeah,
unlinked
which
it.
you can do, but it takes more time.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like I was like, there has to be a better way
Yeah.
to do this.
Yeah. And vice versa, if you just wanted to bring in the audio from something, you could unselect V1
Oh, okay.
and then it would. And the reason, and then like, for example, though, if you wanted all the audio to show up on this track, you would make sure it's selected here. Basically, these two are showing where the video and audio are going to default to when you drag it in, if that makes sense. So like if you have it on A2, that's where when you drag this in, that's where like the audio is going to default to, and the video wherever those are highlighted. So if you don't have anything highlighted, that just means it's not going to bring in any audio.
I see.
My laptop's acting really buggy right now, and I'm trying to follow attention, but
I think it's acting really buggy right now with the Adobe.
Yeah.
So I'm not really easily able to like follow on or do my own stuff, but I feel like I've learned a lot in this session already. So thank you very much.
Yeah, of course.
I think I'm gonna go get my laptop checked because it's like acting really weird right now.
Yes,
So-
okay. And this is gonna be recorded and posted so you can see the rest of
Really?
it.
Oh my gosh, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
I really appreciate you doing this. This is great.
Yeah.
Is there like a way to cut the video and then speed up that other part?
Yeah, I can show you how to do that. So like, for example, say you have this clip, you want to cut it and then speed up a portion of it.
Yeah.
So what you would do is take this razor tool here. I'm gonna click that, and then wherever you want it to cut, you'll click it there. And then there's a couple ways you can do this, but the easiest way is to click and hold on this ripple edit tool, and you're gonna change it to this rate stretch tool. And then when you do the rate stretch tool, it's basically going to either slow down the clip if you drag it out, or speed it up if you drag it in.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, just because there's some other stuff I want to show you guys, I want to move on to the text overlay portion of it all, because that's going to take a minute to show. So wherever you are with your stuff, you can either keep working on that or stop and follow along with the next portion, because I just want to make sure I get to show you guys this in full. So for this portion where I have the text overlays, basically the way I would probably start is by creating the text first. So in order to do that, you would go to graphics and titles, new layer, text. So you're going to create a new text layer. On this layer, it's going to give you a text box. I'm going to start with welcome to, because that is what's in every, even when like the text below it changes, this one stays the same. So I'm going to create this, and it's going to be one layer that we have across that whole section. So I'm going to change it to say welcome to, and then because we're on 2025, it's under effects controls here. So we're going to change the font. For this initial stuff, I used Times New Roman. Just something pretty basic. And then you can put it wherever you want. You can size it like this. I think I want to size it like that big. And then I want it to be about here, but I want to make sure it's centered. So something you can do. Okay, here we go. This is the window that you want. So it's under properties. And you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna go down to this align and transform. You can center it vertically, horizontally, however you want to, but say you want it to be a little bit above, but you want to make sure it's still centered horizontally. You would choose this to make sure it is. Okay, so we created that layer that's gonna be there across the whole text section. Then the one that's going to be changing is the location text. So I get away from the text layer, create a new one, and then it'll create its own one because you don't want it to be the same. Okay. And then because I created these markers here, I'm just gonna line it up. Say Barcelona, and then I'm gonna make this one bigger. I'm gonna make the font size. I'm gonna try to make it as big as I can here. And also I want it to be capitalized, so I'm gonna choose this all caps here. Let's make it all caps. And I'm thinking about right there, make sure it's centered. And then I want to make the color yellow. So you can go to your color picker if you have a specific hex code you want to use, or you can just kind of wing it on in terms of what color. And that's gonna be our first one. Now, basically what I'm gonna do from this point on, if you're creating multiple, if you're just doing one location from this point to this point, you can have it be the same. But because I'm doing multiple locations, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy this layer and then I'm gonna paste it. And I'm just gonna do that a couple times. And I'm gonna resize them, the lengths to fit where the markers are. Then I'm just gonna go through and change the text on each of them to fit the location. So I did Barcelona first, then Paris. And then every time you change the text, it's going to misalign it now. So you want to make sure you go in and realign it.
Can't you like position the text where you want it yourself, like with dragging it, like holding it and dragging it, or do you have
Yeah, you can. So what I was doing was I was choosing like using the thing to choose where I wanted it in terms of like vertically, but because I wanted it to be centered horizontally, I then chose that button to make sure, regardless of where I put it this way, it centers. So you can, if you want it to be wherever you want, you can put it wherever you want. But I decided I want it to be like here on this vertical axis.
Yeah.
But it's not gonna automatically center it. So like I just go here and it makes sure it kind of.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Where does all of the text go in the audio? Like, where are we?
So this is that second section. Whenever I was creating markers for this first section, I went in and created the markers here. So if you want to go in and do that now, I basically just did it by eye with these waveforms. But yeah, if you only have one location, you don't have to change them at this point. You can just have the same one. But that's where I created the markers. It's like this section
Aplauso pa mami y papi, porque en verdad rompieron.
with the trumpets.
Okay, gotcha.
So I'm just gonna go through and fix the rest of these. If you want to go through, create the markers for yourself, do whatever you need to do. We'll just take a couple of minutes here and then I'll show you what I came up with. Okay, so this is what I did.
Rompieron. Pa mami y papi, porque en verdad rompieron.
Kind of weird up there, but Now what I like to do sometimes if I have like a big chunk of a video like a little chunk of a video that has a lot of editing, a lot of stuff going on, and especially if I want to put effects to go across the whole thing, what I'll do is I'll nest the sequence. So I'm gonna go ahead, once I show you this next step, we're gonna do what's called nesting the sequence. And basically what it does is it puts a placeholder just like clip in, but once you double click the clip, it'll open up all the editing that you've done inside of it. If you're doing long form editing of like a short film or something, sometimes people will edit scenes in nested sequences so the overall timeline stays clean, if that makes sense. I'll show you what the nested sequences look like because visually I think it helps to see that cue. But I'm going to add the rest of the video, the rest of this section of it. What I did was it says welcome to Europe, and then I changed the font and like did 3-frame clips of different fonts of Europe so that it just kind of like, it's just like a fun little effect. So I'm just gonna go ahead and create those first, and then we're going to create the nested sequence. So to create a nested sequence, you're gonna lasso select all of the text, and then you're going to right click and you're going to choose nest. And you can call it whatever you want, nested sequence. And now in its place, it just has this one clip. But when you double click into the clip, it has everything that's inside of it. So this is good when you have a lot of stuff going on. And also because I want to do an effect where it's sort of like it kind of closes in on itself by the end. And in order to do that, I created the nested sequence so that I could add the transition on the nested sequence itself instead of doing like an adjustment layer, whatever you would need to do normally. So that's just how we're going to do it. Now that we have this part and there's the different like locations that I've named, I'm going to go into the bin for under text, and I'm going to input the clips I want to use underneath each of those. In order to do that, we're going to need to create another track because right now there's only 2 video tracks, 1 audio track. So you can right click somewhere in this area, add tracks. And we don't need to add any audio tracks, so we can put 0 there, but we're going to add 1 video track. And we're going to do that, and it's going to add us this video track. Because in Premiere, everything in layers comes from like the top down, we want to make sure that our videos are on the bottom layer. Because if we were to put our video on top, it's just going to go on top of the text. You want to make sure it's underneath the text. So in order to do that, we're going to select everything, drag it up so that V1 can be reserved for our video. So, for example, for Barcelona, I have, let's find my clip. This is the clip I want to use from Barcelona. It's a club. So I'm going to use, try this. drag it under, gonna drag it to the text, and now it's on top of the video. I'm gonna do the same thing for each of the countries. If you're just working with one place, you can just put different clips from the same place underneath it in whatever way you want to. I'm just doing it this way because I have it changing. So I'm just gonna do that for a few minutes. Sometimes you might find if you're doing like lighter text over video and you don't have a video with darker colors underneath, like it's fine, but you want to do your best to choose videos where the text is going to show up really well. So this is how I cut everything. And now for this quick part where the text changes, I'm just gonna go ahead and repeat the same footage because the cuts are happening so quick that you're not even really paying attention to the content as much, and we also have an effect happening over it. So basically all I'm gonna do for this is I'm just going to copy and paste this footage again, and then I'm just going to retime it so that everything fits over the course of 2 different text changes. So it's going to be like 6 for each one is going to be 6 frames. Okay, so for this fun, cool, like text font changing effect, basically all that I did and what we're gonna do is for each of these clips, we're just gonna go in, change the font, resize and reposition if necessary, and it's gonna create this cool effect where the font's just gonna like morph as this goes by. So you can go in for each one, click on the text, and then there's a bunch of font options here that you can choose from. You can also, if you don't like, if you want to add different fonts, there's this Add Adobe Fonts button. Something really cool in Creative Cloud is Adobe Fonts. So basically you can go through, search for different fonts that you want. And you can add those font families. And if you add them, you can use them across all Adobe platforms. So like Photoshop, InDesign, Premiere, anywhere this font will now be added and you can use it. So that's something that's really cool about Adobe is that everything kind of talks to each other and works together. So, and there's even, I did a workshop earlier this semester too about how like in Premiere, if you have a still image in your project, you can edit it in Photoshop and it will simultaneously save and update in your Premiere project. You can do the same thing with After Effects. You can open your Premiere project in Audition. There's a lot of ways in which the softwares work together seamlessly. So Adobe Fonts is another way that that happens, and you can use, there's so many different options of fonts in here that you can check out and use for your future Adobe projects. But for now, just for time's sake, I'm just going to use ones that are available in Premiere already. But if you want to go through and look at some other fonts, you're more than welcome to. I'm going to go ahead, and my only guideline with this is I'm going to make sure that each font change is going to be somewhat drastically different from the last. I'm not going to go from Times New Roman to another similar font. I'm going to go Times New Roman to Impact. It's a bold font. You'll notice that it changes the size and position of your text. So if necessary, you can do a little resizing, you can do a little repositioning, recentering to get it to look pretty similar. And now you can just go through and do that with all the rest of the clips. So I'm going to change this one to, let's say, some like, that doesn't look great. I'm not going to do that.
Is your like original like before this transition, is this part of the nested sequence or is that outside?
This is part of the nested sequence. So everything in here
It's
I'll
just
show you.
everything with the text.
Yeah, so I chose it to be this whole section.
Papi, porque en verdad rompieron.
Oh, I see it like repeat.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the reason why I did this all in a nested sequence, I can go ahead and show you now. While if you want to start adding the different fonts, the reason why I did this all in a nested sequence is because I wanted to do a transition out of this, and it's easier to do it in a nested sequence. So if you go to, where here, effects, wherever that is, and you go to video transitions, I believe the one I use is this barn doors effect. So I'm going to put that on the clip, and I want it to last the whole duration of this section here where it's just the font changing. And basically what it does, the default is this. That's not exactly what we want, but I know this is the effect I want to use to get what I want. If you go to effects controls and you go to, or yeah, there, this barn doors effect, we're going to change it so that it's vertical. And then we're going to click this reverse, check this reverse box. And in doing that, it's going to close in on itself. So that, and then also, so it kind of just closes in on itself. You can do something that's cool, and I'm showing you this as like an example of what to do with these things, but this is to give you an idea that there are so many things that you can do in here, so many effects that you can do. If you go into this video transitions section here in effects, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 categories, and in them, so many different transitions. There's so many things you can do, and that's why it's like people think when they see a cool video with cool transitions on TikTok, it's like, like I don't even know where to begin to make something like that. But it's actually easier than you would think in Premiere to create some of these cool transitions and effects. So this is just an example of one thing you may see on TikTok, but there's so many different options here and so many different things that you can do. So if you are interested in like trying to make other types of videos of this, I do highly recommend going in, seeing the different effects that are available and the different transitions that are available. And then also, it's a whole other topic, but you can get into creating your own transitions with and effects with what are called keyframes. It's a whole other topic for another day, but there's a lot of flexibility, and that's just in Premiere. If you want to do like crazy animated things, there's After Effects as well. But again, whole other topic for a
That's
whole
Adobe After Effects?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And
Oh, you would like import your video in After Effects?
so you can actually do it straight from Premiere because they work with each other. So like for example, if I wanted to do something with this clip in After Effects, you would just right click and replace with After Effects composition, and it would open it in After Effects, and then it like, I'm pretty sure with After Effects, all you have to do is save it and it will automatically update Premiere.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So like that platform is like to do just like even more.
And that one's a little more complicated because it involves like graphs and
Oh.
math to a certain degree. So it's like a lot more complicated, but there's so much you can do with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Specifically with like, are either of you journalism students?
I used to, yeah.
You know how like a lot of times when you're doing an interview, you can have like the lower thirds where it has like
Yeah.
the person's name. In After Effects, you can do really cool like animated lower thirds. So like I showed how to
That's
do
how they
that.
create the graphics that become templates.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So like you
Interesting.
can do a fun like something slides in and like animates and then like
Yeah,
moves
is that
the
how
frame.
people, because like people will do like objects on their videos or
Yeah.
something. So that's
Typically there's a lot that you can do in Premiere, but something like that you would probably be easier to do in After Effects.
okay.
Yeah. So but like lower thirds is like a good example of something you might do there because you can like have it slide in, you can like have it kind of move, you can do like a sort of effect on it, or if you're just like, you might see like YouTube videos where people have like objects like bounce
Yeah,
through
that's
the
what I'm kind
screen.
of talking
That's
about.
probably done on After Effects. Okay, I just have a couple more things I want to show you guys. So that's that effect. I'm not going to go through and do it all because it's just going to take me too long, and I want to make sure I finish everything else up. But also this section here, I decided I wanted to put like a longer video. So I had this clip of me sled riding in Switzerland. It's a beautiful country, but it's a very expensive country also.
Yeah.
It's the most, I think it's like maybe the most expensive European country. I got a burger and fries for $45.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Like you in euros too?
It once converted to American US dollars,
Oh.
it was like $45. Yeah. But then you go to Greece and you can get a glass of wine for like $2. So it's like, it's very funny traveling throughout Europe.
Yeah. This is weird. It's crazy.
So that's what I wanted to put there. And then this last section, I wanted to let it fade out to black for a second. So and then have it start back up with, I think like right here, yeah. So in the clips that I had reserved for this, let's see, I'm gonna add markers for this. And I'll just show you a couple of the clips that I used. So I was like, I like this video of this cat walking across. This video of this medieval dinner in Prague where they did fire tricks. and a street musician in Paris. Things that clips you wouldn't want to use in the beginning because you want these to breathe a little bit, have more time than just like 3 frames. And so yeah, I would just do that until the end, and then I decided I wanted to end my video on like the view from a window in a plane because the trip's over. And then use that at the end and then fade it out. Just go to effects, video transitions. You can do this cross dissolve is one I like to use. Those were all the sort of concepts I wanted to show you guys and like effects and stuff. And then at the end of the day, this is what, maybe it'll play better if I play it in here. If you ever want to watch something back and you want it to be full screen, if you're on Mac, you can press the button next to the one that has the like kind of apostrophe looking thing, and then I think it's called the umlaut, I think is the name of the accent thing. It's like the wavy line. That button will make it go full screen. So at the end of the day, this is what I have.
Un aplauso pa' mami y papi, porque en verdad rompieron.
So, you can continue to work on these videos with those concepts that I've taught. I know we covered a lot, so like I said, if you want to keep working on this and you want more help, you can always come to the help desk. Especially if I'm there and we've been working on this together, I can help you. But that's all I have in terms of like concepts to teach. You're more than welcome to hang for a couple minutes to keep working on it, ask any questions. But as far as content to teach goes, that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.